industry news to mobile technology leaks and rumors. We cover tomorrow's tech news today. eSIM Tech News.
Yeah. Woo.
I just need my space right now.
Fresh off the G5 jet, I'm on my way to a brand new kit.
Welcome back. eSIM Studios podcast live stream episode number 243, rolling right along here on this Tuesday afternoon, November 26th, 2024. Thank you for joining us today. Got enormous stories, got big stories, right? So we have big Samsung news, we have big Apple news, and OnePlus news. Now, before we jump in the news, I got 30 minutes here, and we'll close this right about, what time is it? Just around 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. I got a hard out, meaning I gotta get off by then. So, if you miss this podcast, if you miss any of these stories that we're gonna discuss, I'm going to upload them as individual videos, kind of like clips, right, on the YouTube channel. Now, I'm streaming on multiple platforms, a ton of platforms. So wherever you're watching this, if you want tech news, reviews, unboxings, everything involved in the technology world, the mobile technology world, go to YouTube and search eSIM Studios. That's where you will find us. That's our home base. And I just uploaded some podcast episodes right now. You can also catch us on any podcast platform available by simply going to your favorite podcast app and search eSIM Studios. We are on there. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on iHeartRadio Music app. We're on YouTube Music, Amazon Music, even the Pocket Casts app. You could find us there. So, now that we got that out of the way, got some interesting news, kind of a head scratcher, kind of that's interesting. So it looks like Apple might change the design of their upcoming iPhone 17 Pro and 17 Pro Max. As I guess up to yesterday, as of yesterday, we were under the assumption that Apple, being kind of a nice classic design, right? Beautiful, nice. Always love the way these look, just not the way you use them. But putting that to the side, we were under the assumption that Apple was going to release the iPhone 17 series next year, and they were going to look just like this, right? Now, one side note, they are going to release the iPhone 17 Air. We've talked about that at nauseum, right? At length, many times on many podcasts. So they're going to release a razor thin iPhone. They're going to discontinue the Plus model, and they are going to insert the iPhone 17 Air. So there will not be an iPhone 17 Plus next year. It's going to be iPhone 17 Air. It's going to be roughly a 4.5 millimeter thick, which is very thin, iPhone, right? Now, that iPhone is so thin, they can't place the cameras. It's not going to look like the iPhone I just showed you. It's going to essentially have just either one camera on the back, kind of like the SE4 that's about to come out, or it's going to have two cameras across the top, right? Kind of like if any of y'all are Nexus users, kind of look like the Nexus, the 6P, where it has the cameras across the top of the back. That design was initially reserved for the iPhone 17 Air. We got some news today, some shocking news, some jaw-dropping news, that it looks like that design language that the iPhone 17 Air is going to incorporate is now going to see and find its way onto the iPhone 17 Pro and iPhone 17 Pro Max. So what am I talking about? What does it look like? Well, let's find out. Let me pull up and share my screen and we will check it out. So, I have, if you go to esimstudios.com, that's my website, that's where you can find all the latest tech news and tech deals this upcoming Friday, Black Friday. The whole podcast, the whole live stream on Friday, we're going to seek and find the best tech deals in the world online. So join us on Friday. I'm gonna put everything up on my website, esimstudios.com. And if you're looking for a new laptop, if you're looking for a new mini PC, if you're looking for new earbuds, if you're looking for a new phone, mouse, keyboard, Titan security key, whatever you're looking for, join me on Friday. I'm gonna stream early, so it'll give you. I'm not gonna stream in the afternoon. I'm gonna stream in the morning. Mid-morning, right? Not early, but mid-morning, maybe around lunchtime, to give you the afternoon to kind of look at some of the deals we are going to show, and then you can obviously make your pick from there. But if you go to esimstudios.com, I have the big article right here. iPhone 17 Pro leaks and reveals a major change, with part of the phone being aluminum, part of the phone being glass to support the wireless charging in the MagSafe, and a larger rectangular metal camera hump at the top back of the device. Now, I'm going to click on this and expand it so you can see what this thing looks like. It's quite a change, isn't it? Now, this is not set in stone, meaning it's not signed, sealed, and delivered. This is going to be the design, but it came from a leaker that has rock solid leaks, meaning majority of the stuff that he's put out in the past has come true, meaning I'll probably say better than 90%. So this comes from a very rock solid, dependable leaker online. He said this is going to be the iPhone 7. Now, here's the catch. He just states iPhone 17 Pro. It does not say Pro Max, but we're assuming this is what the Pro Max is going to look like as well. What are the chances iPhone just changes this, the iPhone 17 Pro, the smaller one, and then they keep this design for the Pro Max, the classic iPhone? It'll basically look like the iPhone 16 Pro Max. I'm talking about the 17 Pro Max. Now, what we do know is that they are going to go under some changes, some design changes. The current design of the iPhone 16 series, specifically 16 Plus, the 16 Pro and 16 Pro Max, has sort of worn out its welcome. So I think they're on the fifth generation, where it basically looks the same. Apple's going to get a new CEO here in the next year or two, and here in the next year or two, you're going to see the design language change. So at some point, they have to make a change, right? So how many years can you keep the same design? And basically, look, they'll tweak it a tiny bit, like add a extra button or throw on a dedicated camera button, which, whatever. But at some point, you have to change your design, right? They're not going to stay 20 years on this design. I mean, they probably want to, but you can't. Now, as long as your sales numbers are always on point, it buys you some extra time, right? You don't have to drastically change something to try to entice people to buy your phone. But their sales numbers have dropped off, not drastically, but slightly have dropped off. And I think the writing is on the wall that they are going to make a design change. So this leaker right now is saying this is what the iPhone 17 is going to look like. 17 Pro. Now, the 17 Air will look similar to this. It'll either have one camera on the top left, or it'll have two cameras, just like you see right there, but will be probably half the width of that. I know it's kind of hard to believe, but it should be an engineering marvel. There's never been a phone that thin before, I believe. Give me 1 second. I don't think there's been a phone that thin before. But we'll keep our eyes on it now. I'm also going to try and find out for everybody if this is going to be on just the Pro, or if it's going to be on the Pro Max, right? So it's poised to become the 17 Air that we're talking about. It's going to be the slimmest iPhone ever, with new information recently made available regarding its design and internal components. Reports suggest Apple intends to reintroduce its aluminum design reminiscent of earlier models, moving away from titanium materials utilized in recent iPhone Pro and Pro Max models. It's going to feature an aluminum finish, so it looks like they're going to drop the titanium build, which might make it a little cheaper, right? So as you know, costs are going up. Phones continually get more expensive, ever so slightly, right? So they may increase it by $50 this year, $50 next year, $50 a year after that. But before you know it, a couple years pass, and that same model is $150 more expensive than it was just a couple years ago. So this could be a way that they cut cost for them, which means it will try to be right around the same price as what we're used to paying for these, right? Now, part of the back is going to be glass, so you can have wireless charging. You can still have wireless charging, because if the entire back is aluminum, you're not going to be able to charge it wirelessly, right? And it's going to interfere with the MagSafe on there. So how they design this is going to be very interesting. I have seen this done before. I can't remember what device it was, and maybe you, if you're watching, you can, if you remember, you can tell me. But I do remember a phone having an all aluminum or all metal back, and then only right where the wireless charging coil was glass, so you can wirelessly charge your phone. However, it was not seen to the naked eye. To the naked eye, it looked like this, right? They just smoothed the finish, so that little circle where the glass was, they forged it in with the metal, so you couldn't feel the glass in the glass circle in the back. You couldn't see it. It looked just like a normal phone. It's just there was, behind that paint, there was a glass insert where you could wirelessly charge your device. I'm assuming they're going to do that, but I don't know. I'm interested in stuff like that. I'm a nerd, so I like engineering, design, stuff like that. So should be interesting to see what they do. Now, the rear design for the Pro and Pro Max variants will showcase a new combination of aluminum and glass, as I just described. The top portion will feature a larger rectangular camera bump made of aluminum, differing from the traditional 3D glass in prior models. The bottom half, there you go, will maintain a glass composite and or component to support wireless charging. So it doesn't look like they're going to have a circle cut out. It sounds like what they're going to do is the top half, probably where the camera bar is going to be aluminum, and then everything under the camera bar will be glass, right? Behind the paint. To the naked eye, you won't see a difference, but behind the paint is where the difference will be. Now, that iPhone 17 Air is so thin, going back to that device, the iPhone 17 Air is so thin, it's only going to house one or two camera sensors. It's going to be missing that periscope lens. The periscope lens is the lens that is very deep, right? And the phone is so thin that it cannot even incorporate a periscope sensor. So it'll be interesting to see how they design this. It'll be interesting to see. This should be the final design. I will keep a very, very close eye on this. But you heard it here first. I got this news earlier today. and thought, you know what, I'm going to lead with this because it's coming from a rock solid, reliable source. And I've already known that Apple was eyeing a change, a design change, right? I knew that we knew that they were coming out with the 17 Air, which is not going to look like any other iPhone we've ever seen. And look, all iPhones, maybe 2 or 3 years from now, might look like this, what's on the screen right now. They may change 1 or 2 for this upcoming year. And then the following year for the iPhone 18, every iPhone model probably will look like this, will carry that same design change. So they may try it on 1 or 2 models just to test the waters, right? You don't want to change every model, and then people are like, it's ugly, and your sales drop off because your consumers think it's too big of a change and it's too ugly. So they've been known to do that in the past, where they'll change one model, not all of them at the same time, just to, like I said, test the waters a little bit, see if those sales are pretty strong, right? Those sales numbers, see for fanfare online. Are people raving about it? Are people dumping on it, taking a crap on this design? I like it. It looks really different. And at first, when I first saw it, I was like, what? But the more I look at it, kind of reminds me of the Nexus 6P. Maybe that's probably why I like it. But it does look pretty different. Yeah, it was a shocker. It was a shocker when I first saw it this morning. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to eSIM Studios, and you will get notified of every new video, every piece of content we upload. You will get notified of that, so you can stay in touch with what's going on in the iPhone world. Now, let's go to Samsung world, shall we? So, the Samsung Galaxy S25, we are just sitting here twiddling our fingers waiting for the S25 model to launch. The S24 series has been great. I've enjoyed mine, minus the cameras, which we discussed yesterday. I think the cameras in the S23 Ultra is better than the S24 Ultra, as crazy as that sounds. I have not been impressed with these cameras, but it's a Samsung device, very popular. I'm going to get one regardless of the cameras they put on there. I love Samsung devices, so I'm going to be getting one, probably 2, honestly. They should put 12 gigs of RAM in the base S25 this year. So if you like small phones, I would definitely encourage you to try the base S25. But I think the model that's going to be the best is going to be the S25 Plus, right? Should look relatively the same. Speaking of design language. But that's not the news that we have for today. The news that we have for today is we got our very first peek at the S25 Ultra. That's correct. Not a leak, not a graphic like with the iPhone 17 Pro. No, this is the real deal. Like somebody actually held it up in their hand and actually took a video of it. So this probably comes from a manufacturer. Somebody snuck one in their pocket, ran to the bathroom, and probably took a little 15-second video of it in the manufacturing plant, and then ran back to their stool and put it back on the assembly line. Probably what happened. We're getting right around the time, and we'll take a look at it here in a second. We're getting right around the time where you're going to start seeing real world leaks, IRL, in real life leaks. These are expected to launch. We have our Samsung Unpacked event on. It's not official, but it's going to be mid-January. And then you're going to be able to buy these in store, online, here in late January. I believe the 22nd is the official launch date where you can go into a store and buy one. So that means they're going to announce it probably on the 15th, something like that. So we're getting right around there where they're producing these. Like for Samsung, if you're putting out this S25 model, everything's signed, sealed, and delivered. Everything's locked and loaded, meaning everything on the device. And in fact, they've already started manufacturing these at these manufacturing plants because, well, if you're Apple, if you're Samsung, you sell millions of phones. So you have to manufacture millions of phones. You have to physically make millions of phones. So when launch day comes, or pre-order comes, you start selling phones, right? And when launch day comes, you start shipping them out. And that occurs right now. So we're about, let's see, we're about 7 weeks away. So 4 weeks would be December 26th. And another 4 weeks would be January 26th, but they're going to release it on the 22nd. So yeah, we're about 7 weeks away. That's right around a sweet spot when Samsung is starting to mass produce these. So I guarantee you it was somebody at the manufacturing plant. So a hands-on video of the alleged S25 Ultra has leaked online, showing off a working unit with new rounded corners. Tipster Ice Universe has confirmed that the video it was mislabeled as, when it first came out, as an S24 Ultra, and it's actually the S25 Ultra. So I think what happened is Ice Universe put this out, and he's probably the most famous leaker when it comes to Samsung and the Android world. I think he mistyped, or his keyboard, you know how to autocorrect sometimes, especially if a new model's coming out. That happened to me the other day. I was typing in S25, and it automatically corrected to an S24 just because I'm so used to typing in S24. So he went back and corrected it. It is the S25 Ultra. Now, this device features glossy metallic finish and a design shift from the sharp right corners of the S24 Ultra. Now they are rounded, similar to the S24 Plus. It looks like a ginormous, a big S24 Plus. So let's go ahead and check out the video here. Come on now. There we go. Well, it looks like a Samsung. It looks like a S24 Ultra, just with rounded corners, which is a good thing, right? I think they have a classic design. Now, how long they sit on this design, going back to Apple, we have no idea. I'm talking about Samsung, but referencing our Apple discussion, how long they're gonna sit on this iPhone design. I think Samsung, they've been on this design since the S22, right? So S22, S23, S24, S22, 23, 24, 25. This will be the 4th year. I think they can go one more year, and then after that, I would like to see some sort of design change next year for the 26th of S26, which would be the 5th year. But anything after that, they absolutely have to make a design change. But I think this is the best looking one. I don't necessarily like super rounded corners like an iPhone or a Pixel. I like slightly rounded. So instead of being a sharp right angle where the two edges meet, I want it just to be slightly curved right where those planes meet to make a right 90-degree angle. I want to see a slight curvature, and I think that's what they're going to give us. It looks fantastic. I cannot wait. So if you want to see that video again and again and again and make a judgment for yourself, you can go to esimstudios.com and you can watch that as many times as you want, 1,000 times if you want. But make sure you subscribe to eSIM Studios. I am going to stay up to date, keep everybody up to date on everything iPhone, on everything Samsung, on everything Google Pixel, and on everything OnePlus. Oh, did I say OnePlus? Speaking of OnePlus, as you know, we're getting ready for, here in America, getting ready for the OnePlus 13 launch. So the OnePlus 13 has been launched on the other side of the world in China, right? And we're just, again, twiddling our fingers, waiting for this device to hit here in America. Well, it's gonna be pretty soon. I don't believe we have an exact date for the OnePlus 13. but it's got to be coming soon because I got word they were going to launch in the US before the new year. That's all that I know. So it could be well, it won't be next week, but probably mid-December. So probably another 2 more weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. It can't be late December because that's getting close to Christmas. I think they have to launch this before Christmas because they want to hit those holiday sales, right? They want some people to get this OnePlus 13 under the Christmas tree or possibly in their Christmas stocking. So I think you're going to see this OnePlus 13 released probably in 2 weeks, early to mid-December. Now, the OnePlus 13 looks to be a fantastic device. However, might not be the best bang for your buck if you are penny wise, if you are dollar conscious, right? Because how could we forget the R version? So OnePlus, I think it was a hit. I don't have sales numbers, but I got the OnePlus 12R. Fantastic device. For your money, no lie. Minus a nothing phone 2A. Right? If you talk about bottom of the barrel, the cheapest, best phone you can buy, it's the CMF Phone 1. If you're talking about the next step up from that, where you still get a good device, but you're not spending anywhere close to $500, you get the Nothing Phone 2A. That's the best phone for $350, the Nothing Phone 2A. And the next step up from that, right around the $500 mark, is going to be the R version from OnePlus. So the OnePlus 12R. So what it is it's basically last year's flagship, rolled up, packaged in, ready for sale. So it's basically last year's flagship phone. It's got last year's specs, and they're selling it this year. Now, technically, the OnePlus 13, the regular version, is going to have the new Snapdragon 8 Elite CPU, right? With the Orion cores and the absolute beast of a CPU. But the OnePlus 13R is going to have what you could technically say has current specs, flagship specs, because there's phones being released as of this month or last month with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. Right? That's technically, well, I guess not technically, but the 8 Gen 3, because technically there are phones you can buy right now with the Snapdragon 8 Elite. But for a large majority of the year, the flagship CPU was the 8 Gen 3. Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, guess what? That's going to be powering the OnePlus 13R. I think that might be the phone to get, because if you're watching how much money you spend, right? If you don't want to spend, and look, OnePlus, actually, their regular model, the regular flagship model, you can argue is the best value because they blow away basically any other flagship phone in spec-wise. CPU, RAM, storage, cameras, the whole package. You can get a spec'd out phone, probably the best spec'd phone, for what, $799, and if you catch them on a pre-order, they're, I think, $749, maybe $699. I mean, the specs beat the S25 Ultra. That'll be twice as expensive. The OnePlus 13 will have just as good specs or better, and you can get it for literally $500-$600 less. Seriously. So depending on where you want to go, either way, the point is, you cannot go wrong. Whether you get the OnePlus 13 or you get the OnePlus 13R, cannot go wrong. I think I'm going to get I want to say get both, but I said I'm going to get both on Samsung. That's like 4 phones in, Jesus, like a month. So I don't know if that's going to work. But look, we're growing. We're a growing channel over here. We passed 100,000 subscribers, but I don't have these companies sending me all these phones. I got to shell my own money for a lot. Not all of them. Nothing has sent me some phones, and Samsung did send me one phone, but I got to buy all this stuff. So I may get one and one. I may get one Samsung, whether it be the S25 Plus, S25 Ultra, or and or the OnePlus 13 and OnePlus 13R. But I do have some interesting news here after I went on my little rant. Check this out. So let me pull this up here. The OnePlus 13R rumored to sport the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 and a bigger battery than the OnePlus 13. So it's going to sport OnePlus's new battery tech, and I cannot wait. So the OnePlus 13R is expected to feature the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 and a larger battery than its bigger brother, the OnePlus 13. Now let's get into the specs. What can you get for basically $500? Well, you're about to get a lot, because a tipster on Weibo, which is like the Chinese WhatsApp, basically. I know they have WhatsApp there, but it's their biggest social media app, Weibo. So there's a person on there known as Digital Chat Station. He has disclosed key specs for the upcoming OnePlus Ace 5. Now you're saying OnePlus Ace 5, what about the 13R? Well, that is the 13R. So the OnePlus, it's the same phone, except they just give it different names for different regions. So this one phone will be called the OnePlus Ace 5 in China, and it'll be called the OnePlus 13R in the US. So the device is expected to come equipped with a 6.7H, a BOE AMOLED LTPO 2D display featuring a 1.5K resolution. It's pretty freaking good. It's beautiful display, beautiful AMOLED display. It's likely to be powered by the 8 Gen 3 chipset. Now, you're going to have options to RAM this thing up with 16 gigabytes of LDDR5X RAM and up to 512 gigabytes of UFS 4.0 storage. That's music to my ears, right? Furthermore, the OnePlus Ace 5 and OnePlus 13R is rumored to include a triple rear camera configuration, which I believe last year they only had 2 cameras, I believe, with a macro lens, which doesn't really count because it's for like magnifying stuff. This one's going to have 3 real sensors. It's going to feature a 50 megapixel primary sensor, 8 megapixel secondary sensor, and a 2 megapixel tertiary sensor, in addition to a 16 megapixel front selfie camera. Recent rumors suggest OnePlus 13R will be equipped, check this out, with a 6,200 milliamp hour battery. 6,200. That is enormous. That blows away Samsung's 5,000 milliamp hour battery, or the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL's 5,000 milliamp hour battery. Now, both the OnePlus 13 and OnePlus 13R are expected to support 100 watt fast charging. Even though the battery is going to be bigger than it was last year on the 12R, still going to charge 0 to 100 less than 30 minutes. It'll also feature IP68 rating for water and dust resistance, while it is anticipated that the OnePlus 13 will offer both IP68 and IP69. Right? So very excited. Now, it says here OnePlus 13 did launch in China in China on October 31st. So it's been out for almost a month, and the variant released in China includes a 6.82. Right? This is the OnePlus 13, a 6.82 inch BOE X2 OLED display with 1440p resolution, 120 Hz refresh rate, and a peak brightness of 4,500 nits. Now, the OnePlus 13R is going to have 120 Hz refresh rate. I did not mention that earlier in the article, but it will, right? OnePlus, if you've never used one, there's some of the fastest phones you'll ever come across. It's blazing fast, as smooth as butter, and it puts the iPhone high refresh rate screen to bed, right? The OnePlus refresh rate lays the little iPhone refresh rate, screen refresh rate to bed, just kills it. So be on the lookout for that. So we got a lot of devices, a lot of exciting devices coming to the light. Thank you. It's about time. So we got the OnePlus 13, OnePlus 13R we just discussed. We have the Samsung Galaxy S25 series, S25, S25 Plus, S25 Ultra, and it looks like we're having a new Nothing phone. I don't believe that's the Nothing Phone 3. Again, I'm not going to get into it. You can catch yesterday's episode where we discussed the new benchmark leaks that were from a new Nothing phone. The more that I think about it, I've had a night to sleep on it. It's definitely not the Nothing Phone 3. It's got to be the 3A or a base model. It looks like they might put out two devices, kind of like what OnePlus is doing, right? Two models at the same time, because I just don't believe that's the Nothing Phone 3. But it is a Nothing phone nonetheless. What other phones we got coming out? Let's see, iPhone just was out, Pixel's out this summer. So that's three really, really good devices. We have a really bright future. Android lovers out here, you're going to have the OnePlus devices, Samsung devices, and the Nothing phones. Looks like coming out here pretty soon. So please stay tuned to eSIM Studios. We got everything covered for you. And I thank you for joining me today. I want everybody to have a safe and enjoyable afternoon. Please come around tomorrow. We are going to cover some really cool, I got some cool stuff coming up for y'all tomorrow and on Friday as we go over the very best tech deals on Black Friday. So appreciate it. Thank you. Please be safe. And as always, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace out, guys.